back to the OHIO podcast, everybody. I'm your host, Buckeye Boggs. That man up there is the wild man, Chris Wilds. That man over there is Sergeant MVP Aaron Brown. And you are you, and we're so thankful that you decided to join us tonight to be a part of our big Ohio State versus Maryland preview. And we are brought to you by Big Banter Sports. Go to bigbantersports.com to get all of your Big Ten social media and media needs. Also, we are the official Ohio State podcast of scarletandgame.com. Just go to Google, punch in scarletandgame.com. Read all kinds of articles from Ohio State writers, such as myself and other great writers, brought to you by Fansided. Guys, big game with Maryland this week. I tell you what, they're awful confident, Chris. We got to record last night with Jordan Monk from the Turtleheads podcast. You will hear that here shortly if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast. If you are not, jump on over to YouTube. Check that video out. It's already been posted. But Chris, what do you think, man? Does Maryland have themselves a gripe to be ranked higher, ranked in the top 25? And do they have the ability to threaten Ohio State's season this Saturday?
This is the thing. I do believe that they are a legitimate top 20 team. I really do. That being said, no, they are not going to come in and threaten Ohio State. They've played us very tough at Maryland, but when they come to our house, they typically do not perform near as well. This is a team that, they've got some great pieces. And if you look at the numbers on paper, I think we match up very well. Very similar numbers as far as things such as our yards per game, our third down conversions, our scoring. That's all very similar. But I think the big difference is we've actually played a few teams, Eric. Specifically, a very good offensive team in Western Kentucky and just a very tough all-around team in Notre Dame. And Maryland is a team that has, their opponents are combined 7-18 with only 3 wins against FBS schools over the course of 5 weeks now. So they are really very good statistically, but I don't know how good they really are when it comes to facing a quality opponent.
Aaron, you broke down the film, which we're going to take a look at here shortly ourselves. Does Maryland, are they a top 25 team in your opinion? And number 2, do they have the ability to threaten Ohio State this Saturday?
So, if they're a top 25 team, I would not have them any higher than 20th because I'm on board with Chris. They've really not played anybody that I would say is like a true test. They look darn good. They passed the eye test, but again, who have they played that really has tested them like they should be? So, can they threaten Ohio State? Yes. Yeah, I think they can offensively. All right. If our defense comes out slow, there's a chance they could get up on us. And let's face it, our offense right now isn't built for a massive comeback. So it's going to be vital that this defense continues to play consistent.
And there's no reason to believe they won't.
Right. Yeah. 100%. No reason.
The one argument that Maryland can make is that the one common opponent was Indiana, and they throttled Indiana last week, and we struggled in against Indiana. But Chris,
Eric,
go ahead.
That was week 1 for us with a brand new starting quarterback, a brand new starting quarterback who didn't even play the whole game because of a quarterback competition.
Yep.
A brand new offensive line that had yet to gel. That's now got 5 weeks under its belt. 4 games and 5 weeks under its belt. I mean, this is not the same Ohio State team that played Indiana.
Yeah. On top of that, similar to has like 8 years of experience at the collegiate level. somehow, some way. So I don't think that's a fair comparison.
You broke up there. You're talking about Talia Tagovailoa.
Yeah, he's like Hartman and guys like Bo Nix and those guys.
Yeah.
They've been in college for a decade and they've played most of that time. So it's not really a fair comparison to me.
Well, Aaron, he's been hit so hard in the head a few times that, like his brother, he only thinks he's been playing for 4 years.
That's fair. That's fair. They cut him a little slack.
Man, the
CTE is real, guys.
Tagovailoa family is going to be coming after Chris here before we're not
They want
careful.
some, come get some.
Uh oh.
Ooh.
Oh snap.
Ooh. Ooh.
Well, they
Okay.
are they're injury prone, so Chris is he's got him there.
All right, here we go. Let's jump into some of the history and statistics here. Game time, absolutely going to be this Saturday, 12 p.m. on Fox. Big noon kickoff. We get the A team, man. Little Joel Klatt and Johnson is going to be delivering that play by play for you on the Fox channel. So if you're not fortunate enough to go to the game, like myself, I'm fortunate enough to be able to go. Make sure that you hit those DVRs and you get that game. It's going to be at noon Eastern this Saturday. Let's take a look at the history by the numbers here between the two teams. Ohio State leads the all-time series 8-0. That's how long Maryland has been in the Big Ten now. This is their 10th year. Of course, there was the 1 year COVID year. We did not play them. They avoided us. A little interesting nugget here to go along with this. Maryland was reportedly the team that turned into the Big Ten in the NCAA that Chase Young had his girlfriend fly out to California illegally. And remember, he had to sit out 2 games at that time.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was Maryland that did that. And the very next year, we absolutely throttled them. 2022, Buckeyes won last year 43-30. Last time they played in the shoe, that was 2021. That was an Ohio State 66-17 win. Largest margin of victory was 2016, 62-3. That was a beatdown. Ryan Day's record against Maryland as a head coach, 3-0. Mike Loxley's record against Ohio State as a head coach is 0-3. Taking a quick look at all 8 of those games, the one that stands out to me is 2018 at College Park, Maryland. Ohio State won 52-51, and Maryland has been pushing that narrative all week long that they were 1 2-point conversion away from winning that game in 2018 with a team that was not nearly as good as what they have now in 2023. However, that argument is completely hogwash because the team they had last year in 2021 was also better than that 2018 team, and we beat them 2 years ago 66-17, and we beat them last year 43-30 in their house. So to me, I don't really see any issues at all or any reason whatsoever for Maryland to be pushing that 2018 narrative that they only lost by 1 as any reason to be excited about this game in 2023. By the way, I don't think there's any players left on either one of those rosters from that game that would even have anything to even say about it. Talia was a senior in high school, and then he went to Alabama, so he wasn't there, even though he's been in college, Aaron says, for as long as Aaron's been in college. Still in college, right, Aaron?
16 years, buddy.
How's that
So
Letterman
someday he's
jacket
going to
looking?
figure out what he wants to do when he grows
Yeah,
up.
yeah,
Hey man, it's
absolutely.
different strokes for different folks. All right, get off my back, Chris.
Chris, why don't you break down some of the stats from these two teams? Who you want to start with first, buddy?
Let's start with the Buckeyes first, Eric. So Ohio State comes in 447 and a half yards per game of offense. Third down, we've looked a lot better here in the last few games. We're up to 43.14% conversion. Our red zone scoring is at 81.62%. Our defense, this is the thing to hang our hat on, guys. Our defense is still third in all of college football, and that's actually having played some opponents. We do have a +2 turnover margin, and You know what? We are playing fairly disciplined football compared to what we've seen in the past, committing only about 5 turnovers a game, roughly 45 yards total in turnover yardage per game. Individually, statistically, we got Kyle McCord leading the passing game. He is 74 of 114 for 1,055 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Now, our friends at Maryland like to tote how much more Talia has than McCord does statistically. Let's not forget, there's about a game and a half's difference in how much play there's been. Travion Henderson leads the rushing attack, 44 rushes for 295 and 5 touchdowns. Marvin Harrison Jr., he leads in receiving yards with 17 catches for 336 and 3 touchdowns, while Emeka Egbuka, well, he leads in the actual number of receptions of 19 for 263 and 3 touchdowns. By the way, not to be lost in as the fact that Cade Stover also has 19 catches this season, which is just phenomenal for the tight end. Defensively, Tommy Eichenberg comes in leading the team. And guys, that tackle number that we've got on that screen is wrong. I don't know exactly what it is. That is Tommy's solo tackles, not his combined total tackles at 19. Sacks, we've got 1 sack apiece for Michael Hall Jr., Tommy Eichenberg, Hero Canoe, Talik Williams, and Mitchell Melton. We actually have a few interceptions as we've been getting some turnovers out of our defense. Denzel Burke comes in with an interception, as does Steele Chambers, and of course, Jermaine Matthews Jr. And forced fumbles, guys, we got 4 of those as well, with Tommy Eichenberg, Lathan Ransom, Jordan Hancock, and Denzel Burke all providing 1 of those. Now, as we go over to Maryland, Maryland comes in and they are at 454.8 yards per game of total offense, 49.25% in third down conversion, red zone scoring about 84.21%. They are 38th in college football in total defense. And again, guys, that's against a schedule that's softer than a baby's bottom. Turnover margin, +9. Penalties per game, they're committing 5 for 49. So very similar numbers as far as total yards per game, red zone scoring, third down, and penalties to what we see out of Ohio State. Individually, Maryland has Talia Tagovailoa, who comes in at 111 of 169 passing for 1,464 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Something interesting, Eric, for those of you who may not have listened to our recording last night is, did they not even know how to say their own quarterback's name? They even referred to him as Baby Tua.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just out there for the Maryland fans there.
I can't say a whole lot. I struggle with JTT's name, so.
JT who?
Tuimoloau.
Tuimoloau.
Well, it's good to know we're not the only uncultured swine across the Big Ten landscape.
There you go, Aaron.
But we aren't coming on camera with 3-piece suits and ripping our shirts off either. So
we gotta leave the positives.
So we've got Roman Hamby coming in leading the rushing attack for Maryland with 64 rushes, 309 yards, 4 touchdowns. Guys, he is a legit threat when he's running the ball. Jayshon Jones has 19 receptions to lead the Terrapins for 319 yards, 3 touchdowns. Right behind him on the other side, we've got Ty Felton, 18 receptions, 299 yards, and 3 touchdowns as well. Defensively, well, they're led in tackles by Bo Braid, who has 26 tackles. Caleb Wheatland comes in with 2.5 sacks, 3 interceptions for, excuse me, everyone, for Tarib Still. And they've got 4 guys with forced fumbles, including Rex Fleming, Quayshawn Fuller, Trey Colbert, and Sean Greasley. Sorry, everyone, fighting a cold here. So that is Ohio State and Maryland by the numbers